United States, with entry points at hundreds of airports, harbors, and along a border of more than 100,000 miles, is protected by the Department of Homeland Security, including the Transportation Security Administration, the U.S. Coast Guard, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and Customs and Border Protection, including the Border Patrol. This is Border Security USA. At JFK International Airport, every day is a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek between Customs and Border Protection and potential smugglers. On this night, officers have detained a suspicious man who may be hiding a very dangerous secret.
He explained to the officer that he was down in the Dominican Republic, that he went there to visit family. When he was questioned a little bit further, it seemed that the story didn't make sense. He couldn't provide details, phone numbers, names, and tell us actually who he stayed with while he was there. Eventually, he admitted to us that he swallowed approximately 40 pellets.
Swallowing drug-filled pellets is a common method for couriers to smuggle narcotics like heroin and cocaine. X-rays confirm the presence of many pellets in the man's body.
The most important thing right now is to make sure that he's in good physical health, because we do have occasions where a pellet may break or leak inside a person. The pellet breaks inside of him and it's cocaine, the courier doesn't live.
Can they retrieve the pellets in time? San Ysidro Port of Entry. With 50 million people crossing here each year, Customs and Border Protection officers must verify each traveler's intentions in the United States. Today, they receive a tip that a young woman is on her way to the U.S. with a tourist visa. But she plans to do more than just sightsee.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, señor.
We received information that a woman who fit her description was coming to the United States to engage in sexual activity for a profit. Once we saw the woman, we referred her to a secondary inspection to determine whether that was the case.
To crack this case, CBP decides to double down.
My first name, Monica. First name, Monica as well.
Officers Monica and Monica get down to business.
Her visa only allows her to visit, but if she is truly involved in prostitution, that's an illegal activity, regardless of what type of visa you might be having. You're totally inadmissible into the country. ¿Hacia dónde te dirigías?
Aquí a San Diego y voy a hacer una fiesta y van a pasar por mí un amigo que se llama Edgar.
Her version of her trip here to the U.S. was that she was over for the weekend to meet a male friend of hers that she's known for a long time, and they were to go to a house party.
As we went through her belongings, she had condoms in her purse. We found a duffel bag full of clothing.
¿Por qué traías tanta ropa contigo?
Pienso quedarme un fin de semana pues para...
¿Toda la semana o el fin de semana?
Todo el fin de semana.
The type of clothing that she had was not much appropriate for the weather right now in San Diego County. Also, she had several business cards for bars or strip clubs.
Adult clubs, strip clubs, they open on Thursday, and today's Thursday.
Is this woman really just a tourist? Or are these clothes evidence of a more provocative intention? Blaine Washington, Canada Border Services, arrives with a U.S. citizen who has been living in Canada for 20 years. After many failed appeals, Mr. Kravitz, who has a criminal history in Canada, is being deported back to the U.S. for the 5th time. Although it's common for Officer Page to see people being deported, this is a sensitive case.
He has made the statement to Canadian authorities that he intends to take his life if he is deported from Canada, which he now has done.
Do you have relatives out here, sir?
No.
Where do you want to go? That's what we're asking.
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Do you have any money? No. Okay. I would like to determine his state of mind. I would like to know if he's all right. It's worrisome that, from our point of view, he may attempt to harm himself.
I was told I'd be able to stay.
Okay.
So at the last, today I was supposed to have a hearing, in fact, and that was canceled, and here I am today.
Okay. Well, how it works out is it's their country. They set the laws on what they want to do on this. We're going to do a couple things. I want to make sure that you're fine.
I'm fine.
That's my job.
Sure.
I have an emergency medical team that's going to come over. I want to establish your presence of mind. I say that with respect.
That's not a problem.
With Mr. Kravitz's history of recent suicide attempts, Officer Page can see that this man needs help. Fast. Located near major highways at the U.S.-Mexico border, Otay Mesa is a favorite target for smugglers. Customs and Border Protection officers are constantly on the lookout for the smallest clue that might tip them off to illegal activity.
I was working in primary lane when the truck approached me. He had an extra tank in the back of the truck. And we've been having a problem with people getting diesel in Mexico and bringing it back. So the EPA has to sample it to make sure it can be burned in the United States because the fuel's a lot dirtier. And so right away I went to see his diesel tank. So I asked him to open his toolbox, which was attached to the tank. I open up a lot of toolboxes. Usually there's not that many tools in there, but this thing is just completely full of tools.
We have tools that are neatly arranged inside the container, again, which is inconsistent from what we normally see. When things appear out of the ordinary, it kind of, raises the hairs on the back of your neck and say, well, we need to look at this a little bit further.
What Officer Brown doesn't realize is this case is about to slip through his fingers. Back in Otay Mesa, Customs and Border Protection officers have detained a truck attempting to enter the U.S. from Mexico.
So we checked
They are suspicious of the condition of the driver's toolbox.
We have tools that are neatly arranged, which is inconsistent from what we normally see. When things appear out of the ordinary, it kind of, raises the hairs on the back of your neck to say, well, we need to look at this a little bit further.
Beneath all of the tools, they find a surprise.
This is the actual bottom of the toolbox itself. I'm gonna lift this up. Here we go. I don't know what's inside of it.
Whatever it is, it's going to be hard to handle.
Slippery, yeah?
The packing grease, it's very difficult to reach inside and get the baggages out. Grease. They didn't hold back on the grease. They did not hold back on the grease. This will slide the packages in a little bit easier because every inch of this compartment has been used. It's really slippery in here. It's like sticking your hand in the can of Crisco oil. I really can't get a grip on the package. Could you get that test kit for me, please? I'm gonna cut it open. So that's the color that we was looking for. It's purple, which indicates THC, marijuana. So 44.65 kilograms.
The driver pled guilty to federal drug charges and was sentenced to 15 months in prison. Back in New York, CBP officers have taken a suspected drug smuggler into custody, who they believe has swallowed about 40 pellets filled with narcotics. To collect the pellets, officers employ a specially designed toilet called the drug loo.
This is a wonderful machine. All right, it prevents us from, being a little more hands involved in the process.
We still go through it in some type of a manner. It's not as gross as it used to be. All right, the machine does most of the cleaning. Listen, the most important thing right now is to get these out of your system. All right, that's the most important thing. Forget about everything else. We do have occasions where a pellet may break or leak inside a person. The pellet breaks inside of him and it's cocaine. Courier doesn't live.
The officers are anxious to retrieve the first pellet so they can determine what kind of drug he's smuggling.
Just give me one, Jose, okay? Nothing?
That's all right. You can't go, you can't go. Yeah, just throw in the garbage over there, right? It's a waiting game for Mother Nature to call and he'll begin to pass some pellets. Come on, Jose, do a job, brother. You can do it. Come on, man. It's easier coming out than swallowing them. Jose, read this for a minute. Maybe it'll take your mind off everything and relax. Background noise. Come on, Jose, you can do it. Ooh. Trying to get his mind off of the job at hand here. Hey, my man. The courier passed the first pellet, and we're having our automatic machine clean it up for us and sanitize it. This first pellet took 3 or 4 tries and over a period of about 2 hours. It generally takes 1 to 7 days for all the pellets to pass through the alimentary tract. As like unpalatable and like possibly unsafe this might appear to be, we've actually done a very good job at this point of totally sanitizing everything. Based on the color, it looks like heroin. Well, let's see, look at this. It's got a little tawny color to it, brown color.
result was that it turned purple, and that's a positive test for opiates. So it's heroin. The pellet's heroin.
The suspect had ingested nearly 2 pounds of heroin with a street value of $57,000. He was indicted for importation of heroin and possession of heroin with intent to distribute. At the San Ysidro border crossing, human trafficking from Mexico into the United States occurs on a nightly basis.
Right now they're blitzing us, so we're seeing a lot of illegal human trafficking.
They load them up in there, they throw a blanket over them, and they take a chance. Maybe the officer sees it, maybe they don't.
On this night, a CBP dog alerts officers to a suspicious vehicle.
Probably about 6 individuals in here, maybe more. They were concealed under a blanket in the rear of the white vehicle. Officers saw it on the line, we responded, removed the driver, brought the vehicle with the people in, take them out, and they start processing.
Yo vengo a buscar mi dinero, un sustento para mi familia, para ayudarla. Y no ve las consecuencias ni las mide uno.
While human smuggling is sadly routine in San Ysidro, these drivers are a bit more unusual.
What does the band mean?
It just helps us identify the groups.
It says I'm in trouble.
Robert Allman and Carol Farnow are U.S. citizens and the drivers of the vehicle where the illegal immigrants were found. They are also homeless.
Him and I, we live out in the woods. We got approached. They said, you want to make some money? We don't have any money. We're starving. And somebody offered us $1,000. That's a lot of money if you got none.
A lot of the smuggling cartels recruit a lot of homeless people, ask them if they want to make some easy, quick money, bring them down, put them in a car to try and drive them through.
We've been approached before.
Yeah, like I said,
many times. But we've always just said no. But things are getting kind of rough. It's kind of cold out there. And then somebody comes out and says, you want to make $1,000. After a while, you know. This is yours.
All right. The U.S. citizens will go north. The Mexican citizens, they'll be released back to Mexico.
With their identities confirmed, the 2 men are released, never again to cross the border without CBP knowing of tonight's illegal attempt, effectively putting an end to their brief smuggling careers.
This is the outcome, you know.
This is the risk you take.
To add insult to injury, since they were caught, the 2 men will probably never see any of the money they were promised.
I will never, ever, repeat, ever do this again.
No, this will never happen again.
No.
Make a documentary on Homeland Security.
And they'll make a documentary on homeless security.
At the Canadian border, Officer Page asks the Blaine Police Department to determine Mr. Kravitz's state of mind. If he is found to be a threat to himself, they may decide to admit him to a hospital.
You just don't want to kick him out the front door and say adios. I mean, you've got to care about people. Let's see if he needs something, whether he's willing to get them.
Have you had any suicide thoughts lately?
I would be lying if I said no.
When was the last time?
Maybe just 2 minutes ago.
While talking to Mr. Kravitz, officers make a startling discovery about his reason for attempting suicide.
Because under Canadian law, if you have even attempted suicide or even threatened suicide, you're supposed to be able to stay. Mine was more than just a threat.
He found out that under Canadian law, if you attempt suicide, you get to stay in Canada. 2 suicide attempts then occurred.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kravitz was mistaken. No such Canadian law exists for people attempting suicide.
My friends' establishment's total support has been in Vancouver. It's not a question of being manically depressed. It's a question of what's right and what's wrong. Going to the States is like putting me in the middle of Gobi Desert right now.
The last time you tried to commit suicide was 5 months ago?
No, it was 5 weeks ago. To be honest, 3 attempts.
And prior to 5 weeks ago, how many times would you say?
Never. 5 weeks ago, they were going to just either remove me or not. 6 weeks ago, everything just fell through. I don't know if you want to call it like divine intervention or reprieve, but my life was saved, and that was it.
Let's go divine intervention. I like that better.
So.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Malcolm, if I can call you Malcolm.
Sure, certainly.
I'm not convinced that you're not a danger to yourself based on what you've been telling me.
I wouldn't disagree.
So you can either voluntarily go with us down to the hospital, to the mental health department,
or we'll take you in voluntarily.
He's not saying this to be malicious. You just got us concerned.
All right.
Okay.
When you get people like that, you want to plant a seed. And the best is you have to come. There's more to do.
Thank you, Mr. Page.
No problem. I'm hoping things will get better. You're a little young to be doing this.
I'll be 59 in 4 weeks.
We're in the same youth group.
It gets to a point.
Boss, a lot of things still going strong. You got to look at it that way. I'm just asking you, I'm not like you.
No, either way.
Sadly enough, we've pretty much just done all we can. We can introduce him to people to turn his decision around, but he has to be one to do it. We put this uniform on willingly. Those situations come up, we have to deal with them. You can never do this job so much where you're going to get callous. This is life. You see it at its best and at its worst. You pick the best, and you let the best guide you.
Back in San Ysidro, still trying to substantiate the tip received earlier that morning, officers Monica and Monica further question Guadalupe on the details of her trip to the U.S.
They have to know where they're going to stay, how long they're going to stay, and how they're going to pay for this.
¿Cuánto dinero traías tú contigo hoy? Nada más para todo el fin de semana.
Sí, pues para regresarme nomás.
He claims that this friend that's to pick her up when she crosses is going to be responsible for all her expenses.
As they continue to search Guadalupe's bag, they uncover more clues.
Checking her personal belongings, we found 2 cell phones on her. One was a Mexican cell phone, one a U.S. cell phone.
The one with an American line that was purchased for her from a friend. So she met this gentleman at a nightclub in Mexico. He gave her the cell phone and agreed to pay for it monthly.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Guadalupe's American cell phone rings. The voice at the other end could hold the key to this woman's true intentions.
Sí, bueno.
At San Ysidro, it's the moment of truth as CBP answers the cell phone of a woman they believe may have suspicious intentions in the U.S.
Sí, bueno. Sí, es una amiga. ¿Quién habla? She stated that she was going to have a friend by the name of Edgar pick her up at the border. Well, we answered an incoming call right now, and it was another guy by the name of Rigo. And he was inquiring as to where he was going to be picking it up.
With the inconsistencies in Guadalupe's story, officers Monica and Monica cannot justify her visit.
Upon serving her with her paperwork, we went ahead and escorted her into the entry into Mexico and released her.
Although we couldn't substantiate the claim that she was coming over here for sexual activity for profit, we didn't feel comfortable with the reasons that she stated she was coming to the United States.
Quizá tu pasaporte. Igual puedes llevar esa copia con el consulado y procesas tu visa de nuevo, ¿ok?
Over 5 million international travelers pass through Chicago's O'Hare International Airport each year. Today, a young Italian couple has been ordered into secondary inspection because of the suspicious nature of their travel.
This couple just left the United States 10 days ago. Now they're back again 10 days later for another 3 months. Your normal person doesn't have 6 months to spare for vacation, so we're gonna take a look at them and see what's going on, see why they're spending so much time here. They're doing something. I don't think it's just vacationing, but we'll see. Hello, how are you? Have a seat. Why are you coming to the U.S.?
For training, for job.
Do you have the address where you go to your training?
Yeah. Address of the
training.
Okay, don't remember.
Take your time, think about it. Because you have to know where to go, right?
I don't remember the address correct.
You have a telephone number?
I don't have a telephone number. No?
So you don't have a telephone number and you don't have an address where you go and do this training?
Don't remember.
You don't remember? Who is the name of the person who's training you here? What is the name of the person who's training you here?
The information was inconsistent. That made me very suspicious.
We want to make sure that they're not intended immigrants in the United States.
In Blaine, CBP inspects all food carried into the U.S. Today, 2 chefs from Canada are planning a campfire cookout with some unusual ingredients.
I got, on the moose, I got, I think, 3 packages of ground and 1 roast.
We all get together, a bunch of guys, and go prawn fishing every year.
And I got 4 steaks of buffalo.
So we try to make some mean dinners, and so elk and moose all get involved.
Oh, his elk
is in the bag. It's in my big suitcase.
All right.
They got moose, they got buffalo. Okay.
Officers head out to see what's cooking.
Moose.
Buffalo, T-bone buffalo.
That's elk round roast. I'm not going to give this recipe out. This is a secret recipe.
You can bring beef in now. Buffalo can come in too. Still can't bring in sheep, goat, or lamb.
They are restricted because they've been known to carry diseases.
You put 3 strips of bacon on the top, onion soup mix, half a cup of red wine.
Those are grapefruit.
Then you add your cut up potatoes and carrots.
They are citrus products. They're prohibited coming into the United States.
We can't give you the recipe though.
The 2 campers are cleared and head out for their culinary adventure, but return moments later when they notice their bags have been damaged.
I'm one of the fellows that had the elk meat and the moose meat. I had locks on the bags. And instead of coming to ask me for my keys, they just ripped the zippers on the bag, and the bags are no good anymore.
Okay, we can go take a look at it.
Yeah, let's go take a look at it.
See, now that's your zipper. You break those little grooves. You don't have to go any farther.
No, we'll do it for you, sir. We just basically put it back together again, and we gave him a complaint form. It happens a lot when you're doing your inspection, and our inspector apologized.
Okay.
It's our fault.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, bye. And then 2 minutes, you cook it about 1 hour a pound at 250. Put them under the broiler for a few minutes. Bob's your uncle. See you, folks. Have a good day.
JFK International Airport. A father and son arriving from Jamaica have been sent to secondary for further investigation.
I'm strange to what is going on. I've never been in a problem with the law. I've never been in no problem at all.
Unfortunately, the man's son can't make the same claim.
He's traveling with his father, and he's nervous that his father doesn't know his history, and his father's a heart condition, so he'd rather not have his father find out what's going on.
What happened in Belize?
What happened in Belize, to tell you the truth, I got a bag to carry from this taxi guy. I didn't know what was in the bag. And
what was in the bag?
They said that it was chark.
Chark. Why did they arrest you then?
Huh?
What was the charges against you?
The bag was suspected to be cocaine, but they say it's not cocaine, it's chark. And then I bought my ticket and I went home. Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay, perfect.
The gentleman was supposedly arrested in Belize for possible cocaine. He basically denies that he was ever arrested. If he does have a record, he's most likely going to be inadmissible to the United States because he has a criminal record. And he lied about it on the back of his form. He did not admit that he has any prior arrests.
Eager to unravel the truth about the young man's arrest record, Supervisor Morrow begins calling officials in Belize, while Officer Segui searches the man's bags. Back at JFK Airport, Officer Segui has just pulled a small bag of white powder from the luggage of a Jamaican traveler with a possible criminal record of cocaine possession.
We automatically assume in our job that it's a narcotic.
What is this?
That's for insect powder.
The passenger stated that it's insect powder. They're going to say whatever they want to say until we can test it and find out what the test kit says. It's very odd for somebody to carry a bag like that with white powder in it. Yeah, that's clear. There's no narcotic in it.
Yes.
This is always in my bag. Because at home, you have ants, roaches, everything.
Everything comes negative. Well, if nothing has to be found. So that should be it for him. You know, he'll be unmissable.
We didn't have enough information on him, so pretty much we were going to let him go. Until we got a phone call. Hi, is this Miss Lewis? Hi, this is Supervisor Morrow. I spoke to a CBP officer in Fort Lauderdale who is part of the cruise ship enforcement team. What we're trying to find out now is if you know any information about him and if he served any prison time in Belize. He was arrested. She does not know if he did jail time, but it was cocaine. They do have the reports back in Fort Lauderdale. So he did lie to me. As of right now, he's inadmissible to the United States because of narcotics charges. He's not allowed in here. It's a public charge, he's not allowed in.
And he was given a chance to withdraw his application in lieu of proceeding in front of an immigration judge. Do you wish to do so? At this moment, Jermaine,
He's going to get his visa canceled as he chose to withdraw his application. So right now he's going to stay in our custody until he boards the plane back to Jamaica.
Later that night, the father prepares to continue on his journey and must say goodbye to his son.
Honestly, I felt real sad. Real sad. I'm real sad.
El Paso, Texas. Nearly 1/4 of all narcotics seized crossing the border into the United States comes from here. CBP inspects every vehicle to ensure that nothing illegal slips into the U.S. from Mexico.
My canine alerted to the suspect vehicle, notifying me that there was something there. Some sort of narcotic odor.
The dog kept trying to go underneath, and we're just trying to see where it may be coming from. Put the vehicle up on the left so we can inspect it. The transmission does not belong to that vehicle. This is a transmission for a four-wheel drive. The vehicle doesn't even have the capability for that.
The gas tank had to be modified, made shorter, because the length normally would be about here.
The gas tank had been shortened to accommodate for that transmission. This right here. There appears to be a compartment built on top of the transmission. It's kind of hard to see. It was smeared with tar. It's another indicator that it was trying to conceal it, trying to make it part of the vehicle.
That's a good concealment method because they took their time to make sure that it was invisible and that it was going to take good effort on our part to find it.
What secrets does the compartment hold? Back at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, Customs and Border Protection officers are questioning a young Italian couple who they believe may be planning to work in the U.S. illegally.
If they're working here in the United States, we can confirm that they are working here, then they'll be found inadmissible and sent back to Italy. I need to look in your bags, okay? They always bring something that tells if they've been working or what they've been doing. Driver's license. You have Department of Motor Vehicles for your driver's license, and then you have where to go get a Social Security number. Why do you need to have a Social Security card if you're not paid in the United States? When I found the Social Security information, that made me very suspicious. If he's not being paid here in the United States, then there's no need for him to have a Social Security number.
In Chicago, Customs and Border Protection agents continue investigating an Italian couple who they believe is working in the United States illegally.
They've come in legally, but we believe that they're working for pay here because we found his work schedule.
These are not.
We went through their luggage and we got some information from there, some names, some phone numbers. We just started making phone calls. My name's Officer Tanks, and I'm with Customs and Border Protection in Chicago. And I have 2 Italian nationals, and I needed to confirm what they're doing there with your company. Okay, is there someone that I can call to confirm their employment? So who's the boss? Okay, good. What are they there doing? What are they doing? Thank you so much for your help. Bye-bye. Peter, they're working here. We couldn't verify the fact that they were here for training. It looked more like they were here working. They need a J visa.
They're the wrong kind of visas.
Whether they were working or training, CBP determines that they do not have the proper visa.
Whatever you want to do.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
PTR? Okay. We get people from all over the world who come here and work illegally. It's not just a south of the border problem. We turn around people from Europe, from Africa, Israel, just all over. So we're going to find them inadmissible to the United States. We're going to charge them with being intended immigrants, and they'll be sent back to Italy. It took a while. We put the pieces of the puzzle together pretty nicely. Sometimes you have to dig a little harder, a little deeper, a little longer, but yeah, it feels good to catch that.
The couple returned to Italy later that day. JFK Airport. With 1 million international travelers passing through each month, officers must decide quickly which passengers require a little extra attention.
When people go through the control point over here, that control point officer has 1 or 2 seconds to make a decision whether that person is going to go out the door or they're going to go in for an inspection. 99.9% of the time, the people are traveling legitimate, and we're looking for that, that other small percentage which may be trying to do some harm to the U.S. or try to bring in things that they shouldn't be bringing in.
Officers stop a woman who is acting suspiciously.
You can tell if they're nervous, they're hiding something. When you ask the person, can we see your bag, they will hesitate. That's what happened here when we opened it. That's what we found.
Upon inspection, they discover that her luggage is filled to the brim with generic Viagra, which she is attempting to bring into the country.
We just came across these pills, and the mass volume shows that it's a commercial entry and consent to distribute.
Yeah, they're bringing the boxes also, not only the tablets, so it looked like a professional operation. They will resell it.
These do require FDA license, which we do not have, and we don't know what they're actually made of. We're going to be seizing them for the best of the public, just doing our job.
The woman claims she paid almost $7,000 for the pills in the Dominican Republic, but that's nothing compared to their street value in the U.S.
This one here is the Viagra, and this is $6-7 a pill. We have the Cialis here. This will be $15 a piece street value. The Cialis lasts longer. Some people prefer the longer one, and you know, some men will pay a lot to last a lot.
It lasts longer whenever the mood arises.
We ended up seizing a total of 16 bags. Estimated pill counts, 26,998 pills. Estimated value of $152,000.
Since the drugs are not a controlled substance, the suspect was only in violation of having an unauthorized commercial shipment. The pills were seized and destroyed, and the woman was released.
She learned a valuable lesson. Stop what you are allowed to bring in just because something is legal in another country doesn't make it legal here in the U.S. I think there'll be a lot of lonely old men tonight for this amount, and women.
In El Paso, Texas, a drug-sniffing dog has alerted to the underside of a minivan, leading officers to discover some very suspicious modifications to the vehicle.
It's a metal compartment built on top of the transmission.
We're just drilling into this compartment that we've located on top. We're looking for any signs of narcotics. Because of the non-factory compartment on top of the transmission, we know we have something. Of course, it's just up to us to find out what it is.
Officers finally drill through the thick metal plate, allowing them to see what's inside the secret compartment.
What we're doing, we're utilizing the fiber optic scope to see inside of the compartment. Just a small camera, it has a light source at the end, and that's what's illuminating the inside of the box. Right there. Look, right there. Right there. I think the bundle is wrapped with the newspaper.
Back in El Paso, CBP officers have located a secret compartment welded to the bottom of a minivan, which they believe contains illegal drugs. But now the real work begins, recovering them.
One more screw.
You notice that there are narcotics in there. You kind of adrenaline rushes. You feel excited. You've intercepted some kind of narcotic of some sort.
We had 8 bundles inside of the non-factory compartment.
There we go. Taking a sample from another bundle and testing it. Yeah, see on the bottom, it's blue. And on the top, it's pink. So that means it's testing positive for cocaine. You know, the main thing we catch here is marijuana, a lot more than the cocaine. So we're pretty happy when we do catch cocaine. It's 9.44 kilograms or 20.85 pounds. Street value is $625,500. Anytime we catch coke, it's great.
The driver of the van pled guilty to importation of a controlled substance and was sentenced to almost 4 years in federal prison.
It's a good feeling that we can stop it right here before it goes any further. It's a satisfaction that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing and keep it from going to our streets.
Miami International Airport is the main entry point for Cuban citizens legally immigrating into the United States. Today, Elaine Beltran and her family are finally realizing their dream.
El año 95 mi mamá vino para este país con mi hermana y mi hermano. En ese entonces yo no pude venir.
¿Eliane?
Emilia.
pero he tratado de venir desde ese entonces, he querido venir para este país.
¿La dirección que aparece ahí? ¿A quién pertenece esa dirección?
Mi hermana.
Su hermana.
Some people get really nervous when they see the immigration officer, so when they come here they're nervous, but we try to make their stay here as pleasant as possible.
El proceso es el siguiente, le vamos a dar un parol por un año.
It's not difficult for a Cuban to emigrate to the U.S. Any Cuban with a family member in the United States can petition, as long as they have the proper paperwork and somebody claims for them.
En Cuba yo me dedicaba a arreglar uñas, mi esposo era profesor de inglés. Con mi salario, con mi esfuerzo, con mi sacrificio, mi hijo va a tener otras perspectivas de vida. Económicamente va a estar mejor.
Que esté muy bien, bye bye. Cuídense, ¿ok? Ok.
Mi hermano hace 14 años que no lo ve. Mi mamá murió en el 2003, no la pude ver. Estoy contenta porque mi sueño se hizo realidad y el sueño de mi mamá se hizo realidad, que yo estuviera en este país. We are so happy. Yes. Thank God she's here. Ay, qué bueno. Hace 13 años que la estábamos esperando.